Good? Awesome. Hey everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. I'm here today with Tiempo Hanover, who's trying to have a little bite out of Brando, but luckily Brando has the tiempo, or the time, a little Spanish there for you, to spend with us today because Brando, me and you have a number in our head here. 2,056,905. I know what that means. You know what it means. Mike Hennessy pointed out to me the other day, thanks Mike. That is the highest number a person driving exclusively in Western Canada has ever made in a year, and you cracked that in 2022. Did you know you were having that good a year as it was going? Because I'm gonna be honest, man, from watching, I've been like, wow, geez, Brando's kind of having an off year. And was I wrong?
You know what, it was kind of back and forth. Like I set a goal every year to make 100 wins and $1 million. That's kind of been what it is. But I think early in the year, I win all the stake races. I mean, Kelly Hort was out with his eye, with his retina. So I got to drive his horse out in BC. I got the Western Canada Pace and Derby that was pushed into 2022, I think that helped. And then out in BC, I got the Keith Lintons and, you know, so it started out big and then it slowed down a little bit, but it stayed consistent. Like, you know, we consistently 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. You know, it wasn't a lot of the, you know, 6, 7 kind of days like that. I mean, there was probably a handful of 6s, but not what I'm normally kind of used to. But it was a lot of work going back and forth to BC, and I think it was just the effort of, you know, getting to race those 4 days a week kind of thing.
And that's kind of one of the things I was going to talk about a little bit is this is a bigger number than names like Keith Clark, Bill Tainch, Johnny Chappell when he was rolling, you know, like that's a lot of money. I can remember Johnny famously being in a little trouble because he made $1 million one year and they didn't know how to read that he made 5% of $1 million, right? And that was in the 90s, and purses were way better. There was more racing, you know, like it was an amazing time then. And you've been able to encompass drivers that are in the Hall of Fame. You know, have you had a chance to reflect on that yet, or will you take a little time to?
You know what, I haven't even really, you know, I guess for me, it was once I seen that I was getting close to it, it was kind of something like another goal. Like I originally set out to do something and then I seen it and I made it a goal for myself. And it's crazy to think, like once I hit it, I kind of went through all the drivers and stuff, everybody I could think of that was in Western Canada that ever did any good. And the best I could find was, you know, Keith made 1.8 and change in his best year ever, and I was like, no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. How could I beat a guy like that, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what it's a pretty cool milestone to hit, right?
And I mean, Keith, kind of your nemesis always. Like, growing up, I can remember many heated exchanges between you and Keith coming off the track. And to be able to actually accomplish something that he hadn't has to feel good. You know what I mean? And not in a bad way, but in a validation of your talent way.
Yeah, and I mean, the way I look at it with Keith, I always went at Keith so hard and stuff when I was young because it was a way to break through for me. I mean, when I took Keith on and stuff like that, it just showed that I had no, you know,
no fear.
I had no fear of anything. And I got more respect for that man than anybody in this world. Like, I mean, nobody's ever going to achieve what Keith did. And I mean, now that I've grown up and everything's, I have a chance to sit back and look at what he's done. Like, he's truly an amazing, amazing horseman. He was a fantastic driver. You know, I got nothing but respect for him. So be able to top something that he said is pretty amazing. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's pretty cool.
Sounds like Keith maybe has to move a couple over here, Nathan. Just kidding. Anyway, Brando, like now you're going to get a time to relax and spend some time with the family. Like you over 100 flights last year. You were away from Jody May and your daughters. Is it nice now to be able to take some of that success and step back and spend some time with your family?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I spent a lot of time away from them, and when I was here, it was always on the fly, right? You know, it took a lot out of me. Like, it hit me right at the end of the year here. I was pretty spent. So, I mean, being able to spend a couple months here with them without having to go anywhere and focus more on my barn is pretty exciting. Like, my goals moving forward next year are just to spend more time here and focus more on my barn. So, I think I'm going to set a new goal of for my training side rather than my driving side this year, and hope that works out in the end.
So we're not shooting for $5 million driving next year?
I don't know if that's a possibility ever, man. That was a big feat last year, and there was a lot of stake races won, even though I know it doesn't look like it. I think this year why it didn't look so great is I didn't have any 3-year-old power in Alberta, but I had the 2-year-old power, and then in BC I had the 2- and 3-year-old. So maybe that's why it made it look a little offsetting. But
well, the reason is, and like I said, I've been upstairs watching so many races this year. I'm used to when we were driving together, coming off the track and being like, what do you mean he won 6 again today? You know, and you walk and you're just like, oh, I guess I suck. You know, and this year, I would say there were days I'd be like, oh, Brandon had an off day and you'd won 3, you know, which is an amazing day when I was driving. So it's all kind of just, you know, what your Mendoza line's been set at. And yours is set so high now because you've been driving at such a high level for so long. I think even the Brandon Campbell superfan expects you to win 5 a day.
Yeah.
And the impressive part in doing some of it is a lot of your win, was it 277 wins this year? I mean,
I'm not even sure.
It was
somewhere around there.
I've got
Maybe
it on
a little
my phone,
lower,
I
I
should.
think. But
it was over 200 wins. A lot of those wins, like you said, your barn maybe wasn't as hot, but you picked up wins from maybe not top names, but like Ducharme's, you won a lot of races for them.
Yeah.
Harold, you would jump on a 20-to-1 shot of Harold's that never shows leaving, and all of a sudden it's on the front end and pays 20-to-1. Thank you, I appreciate those. You know, so it's not just top barns you're winning for. Like you've proved that you can jump on a long shot, and people will bet you just because it's your first time. You know, and that's kind of where you've moved into in your career. Like, when did you notice that?
You know, for the last few years, kind of thing. Like especially in BC, not so much here, but it will happen here as well. Like BC, for some reason, it doesn't matter what I get on. I'll get on a long shot, and the gamblers, they bet on me like crazy. Like I'm on a horse that's 12-to-1, and all of a sudden he's sitting at 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 going behind the gate. And I try not to think about those things because, you know, it's just added pressure. I go behind the gate as calm and as cool, and every race is the exact same, and I just try to do my thing. And, you know, like I look at last weekend I drove that Let's Go to Vegas or something like that. It was 10-to-1 morning line. I think it ended up going off favorite or something like that. And it probably should have, because dropped class and had more starts than anybody else, and she was in the right place to win a race. So I don't know. It's just something I've kind of come accustomed to, and I get lots of Facebook messages from people telling me some pretty awful things sometimes when they bet on me on horses they think I should win with, because it's weird. You'll get on a horse that's 3-to-5 and he's not feeling any good that day, and you suck, and then all of a sudden the next race I get on something that's 15-to-1 and I win by 5 or something like that. So it's just, you're only as good as your horse is too, and I'm just lucky enough to get on a lot of live horses from people, right? So I mean that's the biggest thing. I mean, you look at Drivers' Challenge Day, I never got a good draw at all, and I mean I wasn't even a factor. I wasn't even seen that day. So I mean it has a lot to do with these guys.
Right on, man. So, last question for you, and it's kind of a weird one. Do you regret not making your move to Ontario and sticking it out there longer, or have you come to peace with just being the man on the West Coast?
You know what? I had a phone call from a guy the other day asking me to move out to Harris Chester and stuff like that and drive horses, and I've gotten the call from guys in Ontario quite a bit, and I don't regret it because I have a beautiful family. You know, I mean, that part of me that's full of competition and stuff wants to see, like I see guys doing really well on the WAG circuit and stuff like that I used to drive with when I was there and stuff, and in my heart I feel like I could drive with them or be as good or maybe better, and it gets to me once in a while, but I've made a great life here. I got 2 beautiful children, you know, I got a home, and I like training horses too, so I mean that's a big part of it. That's why I didn't stick it out there. It was going to have to be one or the other because it was too busy, right? So I'm at peace with being here and having a family and doing what I love and being very fortunate at it.
Oh, that's great, man. We appreciate you still being here. We need the talented horsemen here, and the next ones to keep stepping up. And right now you've stepped up into the top echelon. Hopefully we'll find the next one that will come along after you. But I appreciate you doing this, Brandon. I've known you for, I mean, pretty much our whole lives. We've been frenemies, friends. Now you're my brother-in-law, so congratulations, man. I'm proud of you. You've changed so much in the last 6-7 years that you're a whole different person, and I can't say enough good things about you now. So thank you for doing this again, man.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate
Right on.
it.
All right, hit the button.
Hit the button.